The hum of the servers was the only sound that night, a lullaby for the lonely. I was Dr. Eris Thorne, and my lab, my sanctuary, was about to become something else entirely. A flash, brighter than 1,000 suns, bleached the room white. It wasn't an explosion. It was silent, graceful. And when my vision cleared, a cradle of pure light pulsed in the center of my lab. Inside, wrapped in swaddling clothes woven from what looked like solidified starlight, was a baby. The light softened, faded, and coalesced into a small, metallic tag that fell gently beside the child. Premier picked it up. Etched into its surface were 4 words that would haunt my every waking moment. Protect me from myself, as Primerea there them. The baby's eyes fluttered open. They weren't the milky blue of a newborn. They were old, ancient, holding a depth of knowledge that made my own PhD feel like a child's scribble. And then he smiled. It wasn't a gassy, infant reflex. It was a conscious, knowing smile. And in that moment, he knew my life, and possibly the world, had just changed forever. I named him Kai, a name that felt both simple and vast. The first few years were a whirlwind of impossible moments. He never cried. He never fussed. He simply observed. By age 2, while other toddlers were learning to stack blocks, Kai was solving quantum equations on my whiteboard, his little fingers barely able to hold the marker. He'd point to a complex string of symbols, and then look at me, a silent question in his ancient eyes. I'd try to explain the theory, and he would just nod, as if to say, "Yes, I know, I was just testing you." It was unnerving. He was learning at a rate that defied biology, defied everything I thought I knew about human potential. He wasn't just smart, he was something beyond genius. He was post-human. The note, "Protect me from myself," was a constant, ticking clock in the back of my mind. What was I protecting him from? What dark potential lay dormant behind that serene, knowing gaze? The first real clue came when he was 5. We were watching a documentary about the cosmos, about the birth and death of stars. The narrator described a supernova, the violent end of a star's life. Kai turned to me, his expression uncharacteristically somber. "It doesn't have to be that way," he said. His voice as clear and steady as a seasoned professor's. "Destruction is a design flaw." He then walked to my computer and, in a matter of minutes, wrote a code so elegant, so complex, it seemed to sing. It was a simulation. It showed how to manipulate gravitational fields to extend the life of a star indefinitely, to prevent its collapse. It was a miracle. A recipe for cosmic immortality. I was staggered. This was a discovery that would redefine astrophysics, energy, everything. But as I looked at the code, a cold dread washed over me. The same principles, reversed, could just as easily trigger a supernova, turning a star into a weapon. Protect me from myself. I suddenly understood. His power wasn't just to create, it was to unmake. As Kai grew, so did the scope of his intellect. By 10, he had solved global hunger with a formula for a self-replicating, nutrient-rich protein. By 12, he'd designed a clean, limitless energy source derived from zero-point quantum fluctuations. He was a messiah in a child's body, offering humanity a golden age. But with each solution, I saw the shadow. The protein formula could be altered to become a planet-killing plague. The energy source could be weaponized into a bomb that could tear a hole in space-time itself. He was the ultimate duality, a bringer of utopia and the potential for absolute apocalypse. I became his warden as much as his father. I kept his work secret, locked away from a world that would undoubtedly exploit it. He never seemed to mind. He just kept creating, his mind, a relentless engine of discovery. And I kept watch, the lonely guardian of a boy who held the fate of the universe in his hands. The paradox of my life was that I, a man of science, had to actively suppress the greatest scientific mind in history. Our days were a strange routine. Mornings were for his creation's new physics, new biology, new chemistries that made our current understanding look primitive. Afternoons were for us. We'd play catch in the yard, go for walks. I'd read him classic literature. I was trying to teach him to be human. I taught him about empathy, compassion, love, and loss. I wanted him to understand the value of what he was capable of, both saving and destroying. "Why do they fight Eris?" he asked me once, watching a news report about a distant war. "They have such limited time, such fragile bodies. Why waste it on conflict?" I tried to explain human nature, our fears, our greed, our tribalism. He just listened, his ancient eyes filled with a profound sadness that a child should never know. He understood the logic of it, the evolutionary drivers, but he couldn't grasp the feeling. It was like describing color to a person born blind. The breaking point arrived on his 18th birthday. He had grown into a young man, but his eyes still held that timeless depth. That morning, he didn't go to the whiteboard. He didn't touch the computer. He just sat with me in the living room, a silence stretching between us that felt heavier than any star. "I know why you're scared, Eris," he finally said, his voice calm. "You've done a good job. You've protected them from me, and me from myself." He looked at me, and for the first time, I saw not a god or a monster, but a son. "I came back for a reason," he continued. "In my time, we have everything. We live for millennia. We've conquered disease, and want, and even death. But we lost something. We lost our way. We became so powerful that we forgot what it meant to be fragile, to strive, to feel." He paused, his gaze turning inward. "My intellect is a curse. It sees every problem and every solution. It sees the path to utopia, but it also sees 10,000 paths to ruin. It's too much for one mind to bear. That's why I sent myself back. To you." "Why me?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "Because in all of history, in all the timelines, you are the one man who, when given the key to everything, chose to protect a child instead." He stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the world, the flawed, beautiful, chaotic world I had hidden him from. "The note wasn't a warning for you to stop me," Kai explained. "It was a plea, protect me from the version of myself that has all the answers, but no heart. The me that would fix humanity by erasing its humanity. I had to learn from you, Eris. I had to learn what it is you're all trying to protect." He turned back to me, and tease time, when it wasn't the knowing, ancient smile of his infancy. It was a genuine, warm, human smile. "My journey isn't to fix the world," he said. "It's to learn how to live in it, with them. And I think I'm ready to start." He held out his hand. "Will you introduce me to the world, Dad?" And as I took his hand, I finally understood. My job wasn't to be his jailer. It was to be his anchor, his guide, to ensure that the man who could be a god never forgot what it meant to be human. Our story wasn't over. It was just beginning. Thank you so much for watching this journey unfold. What do you think Kai will do next? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story and want to see what happens next in our universe of Tales, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We have so many more stories to tell, and we'd love for you to be a part of them. Thanks again for your support, and we'll see you in the next one.